I'm in an industry where I read so many different assessments and it talk about the kids' families and when things started, whether it's, pardon me, the drug addiction or mental health issues. A lot of this you see in families. So what happens when kids are in school nowadays? It's so different. When I was in school, you did something, there was discipline on the spot. Your parents came, they worked with you. Nowadays, kids don't have to be responsible. Kids can complain about something. The teachers are always the bad people. The teachers are the one. Parents. How many parents out there actually work with your kid to do your homework nowadays? And then you blame the school if your kid's not getting good grades. It's a little interesting whether you're in one of the poorest schools or your family pays the most money to go to one of the best high schools or colleges in the nation. If the kid isn't doing right, it's got to be the school. It's not the family. A lot of things start with the family. We have to start with the family. When I was a kid, my mother and grandmother helped us with our homework. How many people do that nowadays? Because if you help your kids, pardon me, when I'm talking about school, you get a connection. The kids see that you care. The kids know that you care. The kids see you as a role model. And it doesn't matter if you're a single family. I was raised with no father, 3 ladies, mom, grandma, and great-grandmother. But the love and care was there all the time. And if not, then the community helped raise us. And we had mothers, African-American, Hispanic, Asian, from Russia, all our community. The moms helped raise you. You got out of line, one of those mothers was going to mother you in more than one way. But you knew you were cared about. But the reality is, kids' mental health issues really aren't done the way that they should. And when I say done, I mean, we have all these grants, we have all these different people, we have Republicans, Democrats, liberals, everybody talking about what they want to do for everybody. But what do we do for the kids? Schools teach you how to fail, not how to succeed at times. Because if you don't get good grades, you don't get a passing grade, that means you're a failure. So that makes you feel as like you're less than. So if you feel like you're less than, what are you going to do? You're going to treat yourself that way. If you don't have someone who's positive, if you don't have someone who's going to nurture you, understand where you're coming from. So many kids deal with learning disabilities. I myself, dyslexic, I have a hard time reading still to this age. When I was younger, people would make comments. I didn't know what the hell the problem was. We have kids who have these problems now. We have kids that go to school hungry. We have kids that go to school, they've been up all night because they're homeless. They have no place to live. We have a lot of things, and we have a lot of great organizations. I'm not taking away from any of that. But we've got to stop the bullshit of saying we're doing something when we actually aren't. We really aren't. There is some progress. That's like someone doing a painting, and you're going to get a grade when it's 100%, but you turn it in there 70% because all you know how to do is 70% of that painting. You can't figure out the other colors, texture, what the visual is going to be. So 70%, does that work for some people? I think it does. But we also have to take into consideration what's something that's very important. A lot of the things we go through are generational. If there's depression, anxiety, mental health issues, addiction, there's a lot of it. I see it every day. I read a review today on someone, 12 years old, her mother started her with crystal meth. 12 years old. She had no idea. By the time she was 16, her mother was prostituting her out. She had no idea what that meant. She had no idea. She wanted to please mom. And she's a beautiful person. I had a conversation with her. She had no idea because if you're brought up not knowing, how are you going to ever learn if you don't break the cycle or people help you? She's from a town in a small state, a lot of poverty, a lot of drugs, but it's almost generational. And that's something we have to take a look at. We got to start looking at the past because you have people out there that say, oh, we don't want to look at the past because the present. That's bullshit. And you screw yourself over. You screw your family over. I talk to people every day who say, oh, well, there's no depression in my family. No one has ever been diagnosed with the mental health issues. Now, it's cultural as well. Certain cultures do not want to deal with the fact that someone in their family has mental health issues or could be an addict, or there's this macho attitude that you put up a front and you can't have a problem. I deal with certain cultures that also talk about women shouldn't have problems. And if the women have problems, they're excommunicated to a degree where people shun them because women shouldn't have these problems. What I'm saying is we all have problems. Kids have problems. We need to do a better job for our kids in school. Not just kids in school, high school as well, not grade school, high school, colleges as well. We need to do a better job, a better way of educating them how to take care of themselves. And that has to do with food, obviously. That has to do with exercise. You know, I don't believe PE is mandatory anymore because kid doesn't want to sweat. Johnny brought a note. Mom said that he didn't have to, and mom hasn't been in the house for 10 years or dad in 10 years. There's so many things that add up to why our kids are doing what they're doing. And if they don't change, what's going to happen? Grow up, maybe not work, maybe be one of those people that the government is paying a lot of money for because they have an addiction issue, mental health issue, or maybe they go to prison, or maybe they go to jail. And a lot of people think, well, they deserve it. There are many people who deserve it. And there are many people who've never gotten a chance to break the cycle. Now, I don't make excuses for people because in my family, coming from a lot of different people, my mother's side of the family, every one of her dad's brothers, criminal, addicts, all of them. Other side of my family, the same thing. So I'm not saying that everybody's family's good or everybody's bad. We had bad people in our family. We had wonderful people in our family. But at the same time, my mother and grandmother did the best they could. Because at a certain time, it's up to the child when they turn 18, or if they want to be released from their family bond when they're younger and they don't want to be around family, it's up to them to make the choices. But the schools need to do a better job. They need to talk about mental health. They need to talk about depression. They need to talk about anxiety. They need to tell the kids. I had a 9-year-old girl 2 Christmases ago sit there. She's part of my family. She's related to someone. And she looks at me and she goes, and I only met her once. She goes, "Oh, you're the black sheep." I said, "Excuse me?" She started talking to me and we started talking about depression. She goes, "Yeah, I've got friends in school. They're depressed." And I said, "Well, where do you learn this?" She goes, "Well, we talk about it. I read about it." It's one of the smartest children I've ever met in my life. But she's always inquisitive, trying to learn things. It was a great conversation. Then I realized, damn, this kid knows more than me. But the reality is, if we really want to help people, then we need to reach out to them. We can't just state everything's okay. You can't just give kids a piece of paper to take home and answer questions. There needs to be more professionals on schools.